Hi, welcome to the podcast. We are talking about secondary market, and we have secondary market experts, Ali Khan from Secondary Sales and Leasing Manager, and
Hi.
we have Tom Hall, Head of Sales and Leasing team. So, may I request you to please both introduce yourself?
Hi. So my name is Ali Khan. I'm a sales manager at Banke International.
Yeah, thanks for having us. My name's Tom, and I'm the head of sales for the secondary department at Banke.
So let's start with talking about the pulse of the market. So, question to Ali: what do you think about how is the market going in the secondary front?
But 2025, it's looking absolutely amazing. In fact, we're just going through the numbers with Tom earlier, and compared to 2024, looking at 2025, it just looks absolutely on the high rise at the moment. Giving the numbers. There was 78,000 transaction done till this time of the year, and comparing to this year, we're on to 95,000 plus already. So yeah, definitely, it's going up and up.
Perfect. Sounds good. So, what do you think? What are the sentiments now? Is sellers getting more difficult? Buyers are looking for primary market, or buyers are looking for secondary market? So, what do you say?
I mean,
about
it's
this?
each to one right now. Secondary should be increasing for the flow we have seen in the market. There's more people, tend towards villa, townhouses community at the moment.
Right.
Some of them still likes to live in the apartment. So depending on individual, like from the investor point of view, obviously, off plan is something that obviously helps them.
Yes.
From an end user point of view, villa communities are definitely doing absolutely amazing. Places like Furjan, let's say,
Right.
Dubai South, and obviously the apartment side of it, off-plan takes full control of it, and resale does help. Yeah.
Perfect. So, in terms of percentage, will you say apartments are more expensive or villas are more expensive?
That has always been the case. From as far as we can go back in the market, apartments always going to be variable depending on the area wise.
Right.
Our villas always going to be, again, coming from end user point of view. The price range just goes with the area, obviously, how and what sort of size they're looking for, and that has never changed. So in terms of answering your question, I think villa prices are always going to be on the higher side. Yeah.
I agree.
I think the price per square foot now, we were looking at it again today recently. The price trend is, we're far higher now than what we've ever been before.
Right.
Back in 2008, I think it was 1,200 to 1,250 a square foot.
Right.
And then 2015, 2016, which was when the market kind of got close to that again, was the same. It was about 1,200 dirhams a square foot.
Right.
Now we're at 1,700 on average. Obviously, it goes far higher, but in terms of the actual indices of the trend, that's where you're seeing the price points go, which is interesting because that obviously takes an accumulation of villas and apartments, puts them together, and then gives you a trend line of what the market's actually doing, which since the last 2020, since 2019, 2020, it's at an angle like this, and it's just continued to go and go and go, which is, we all know that, and we know what the market's been doing.
Exactly. So what is your take? Do you think this market is going to continue for the next 3-5 years the same way?
Honestly, I've been saying for the last 2 years, when's it going to change? When's it going to change?
Right.
I think maybe I was probably a little bit naive, because the reality of it is the reason why the market has grown significantly since COVID, because everything now is post-COVID, as we call it, is because of supply and demand. So the market has been propped up by investors from certain nationalities over the years. 22 was a certain nationality, 23 was a certain nationality. But the reality of it is the number of people that are actually moving to the country. So last year, I believe it was around 170,000 new residents.
Yes.
For 2023, it was around 80,000 new residents. They want to hit 4 million, 4 million residents by the end of 2025. I think we're at around 3.9 so far, 3.9 million. So if we did 170,000 last year, let's say they only do the same again this year.
Right.
The number of units that are handing over is 39,000 for 2023. Okay. Around 39 to 40,000. There's a bit of a discrepancy for 2024. 2025, they believed that they were going to hand over 90,000, which is why the market was going to dip. Well, they've only done, again, the numbers are a bit difficult to find exactly at the moment because the reports are not finished. but they're at around 30,000 or so far.
Right.
So if they do 50,000 for 2025, which is possible, and we get 200,000 residents,
Right.
and then 2026, they're going to need to hand over 200,000 units to make up for the number of people. So that's not going to happen. It's unrealistic. Right. So if we go back to the original question of what the market is going to do, well, if the supply chain continues at the current rate of flow of the last 2 and 3 years, and the influx of people continues and we don't see a spike, we're still going to we won't have enough units for the number of people. So supply and demand will say the market will continue to go, maybe not like shooting up through the sky, but it's going to continue to climb.
I agree.
If you look at Tokyo, if you look at, New York, if you look at London, we're still a lot cheaper price per square foot than those countries. But Dubai is now classed as, it's in the top 5. Some people say top 1, top 2, top 3.
Right.
Unless something drastic happens in the world and Dubai's bubble pops, I don't see why the market's going to take any other direction than a gradual, continual climb that it's been doing for the last few years. Right. I really don't see it.
So at any point of time, you're not seeing shortage and, we're not seeing oversupply and
look, the number of units, if you look at the number of units that are sold off-plan versus secondary villas is around 50% more than off-plan.
Interesting.
Secondary apartments is around 50% less than off-plan.
Okay.
But the time frame that we've seen the developers build in used to be 2.5 to 3 years they would get something done. Now there's delays. We see 3.5, 4 years.
Right.
So apartments, they say that the average household, I believe, is 5 members per household for Dubai. That's the average size, which to me is crazy. So why are they building so many apartments? Because the majority of the apartments are 1 bed and 2 bed.
Right.
Studio, 1 bed, 2 bed. But I think the large majority is 1 bed. Yeah. If the average household is 5 members, where are they all going to go? Because they're not going to live in a 1 bed.
Right.
So, everybody has their own opinion on it. But if you just look at facts, the facts are the facts. But the market's opinion is, some people think it's going to go down because we saw this article that said a 15% reduction because there's going to be an oversupply. Right. Where's the oversupply coming from exactly? Because I can't find it. Yes, there's a lot of units that are being sold, but there's a lot of people moving here as well.
Right.
And we're not handing over units at the rate that they promised that they would. Yes. There's supposed to be 220,000 units handed over in the next 2 years. I think that was the figure, around 220 in the next 2 years.
Yes.
Good luck to them. Really, really good luck to them.
I also read something interesting this week. They said the developers are holding the handover. They've always done it, but it's coming out that open now. They hold it for a certain period of time, just to extend the handover time, so keep the market stable. Right. And it's actually been controlled by certain sectors of the departments. Okay. And
that's an interesting. That's an interesting thing that he's just made out there, because you will remember.
Yes.
2015, 16, 17, Ranches 2, Dubai Hills, the early generations, Nashama, they used to hand over in massive batches.
Right.
And we would see the price take a nosedive because there'd be 200 units available in the market.
Exactly.
Now, when they do handover batches, they do them in 10s and 20s, not hundreds.
Right.
Because they figured out, hang on a minute, we're kind of ruining the secondary market because we're just going, bang, here's all the units that are available. So they created a structure, let's say, from the developer's perspective of how do we do handover more effectively.
It's fully controlled as well.
Of course.
Funny enough.
Interesting. I was not aware of this control structure of
the
releasing
handed
batches.
over. Yeah, you see from the developer point of view, they can, if you imagine something like in JVC, about 40,000 units going to be handed over as per in 2025.
Yes.
They started the construction in 2022, 2023 maybe. Now, if you see amount of developers have come in JVC particularly, if you're going to deliver everything in time without holding the market in the control, what's going to happen? Exactly. You see the most transactional area in JVCs, particularly because there's more units coming available in that area. That's the only logical reason behind it.
Yes.
But the hindsight of that is they still got to be controlled. It's still going to be measurable. The infrastructure in JVC is still not prepared. They're not ready for it.
Right.
So it has to come in certain period of time throughout
Right.
the year. It just cannot be all come at one.
Right.
So keep the market flow and the price stable as well. The most comfortable and the way the trust is built in Dubai over the period of time, it's generally because they control the price range of per square foot for over
Right.
the period of time compared to the rest of the world, like Tom mentioned, New York, India, other places like London,
Yes.
where it's all over the place at the moment, still on the higher side. In Dubai, they're trying to keep it under certain, so anyone can come in from different part of the world and afford, and depending on where they want to stay.
Right.
So that's one of the best thing about Dubai real estate market is generally have everything for everyone, just not
Right.
for one segment of people.
We compare Dubai to a lot of these countries that are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old.
Yes.
And Dubai is, 30, 40 years old?
Exactly.
And we have seen a very steady incline in the market
Right.
since 2019.
Yes.
2008, obviously, there was a spike, and then there was a dip, which was global.
Right.
2015, the market came back up, and then we saw a dip towards COVID, and then we've seen an incline.
Yes.
If you look at London, if you were to stretch London out over its 100 years, you would just see a very, very slow, gradual incline.
Exactly.
But if you chop it up and follow, 10 years of the market, 20 years of the market,
Right.
you'll see the same kind of peaks and troughs.
I agree.
And the reality of it is, as well, is Dubai is already planning for future. It hasn't officially, all of the statistics are not fully out for it yet, but there's a first-time buyers scheme that's happening, which
Yes.
they used to do in the UK.
That's right.
In the UK, they used to do a new buyer scheme, first-time buyer scheme, it was called,
Right.
and they would reduce the stamp duty, which is the same as Dubai's DLD fees.
Yes.
So they would remove stamp duty for first-time buyers. Now, we don't know what Dubai is going to do. We've seen podcasts on it, we've seen people talking about it. The reality of it is nothing has been officially released.
I
Just
see.
there is going to be a scheme.
Right.
So again, if you look at that, they're planning for how do we keep the market moving?
Yes.
How do we get the younger generation on the ladder? Because that's a big problem in America, UK.
Yes.
I don't know about India, but I know America and UK and Tokyo and these kind of places is difficult. I think the average home buyer is like 36 or 37 years old, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously Dubai is thinking, okay, how do we get, the younger generation, first-time buyers, how do we get them into the market sooner? How do we potentially keep the market moving once the tourism changes, once the market changes? We've got 2030 plan, 2040 plan. People already know about this. It's been around for a long time. The rails, the metros, the new
Right.
airport, all of these kind of things. Dubai is just going to continue to grow, but they also need to keep the market
Yes.
so that people can purchase. Because if the prices go
Exactly.
crazy, how do the likes of us get into,
Yes.
how do we get into the market?
I-
So
I
they have to
completely
put stuff in place that's going to try and help, at least mortgages, better rates, maybe some kind of DLD waiver fees, something
Maybe,
like
yes.
this. Yeah, maybe these kind of things will help the first-time buyers get on the ladder and get properties purchased, which will eat up more supply.
And if you look at from the end user investor point of view, the
Yes.
most important thing is the trust factor.
Yes.
And how do you build the trust when you see the government is spending their own money and getting in the skin of the game?
Right.
So for me as an investor, I see where the government is spending money, and I want to go and spend the same area, or specifically where the government is spending money, because I feel that government has a plan.
Right.
In the developers that government has it, they're gonna use that, and once the plan is there on a paper,
Right.
it's actually very solid if you look at it. And
I think Dubai's built its credibility now, hasn't it?
absolutely.
I mean,
there's-
previously, let's go back 15 years or so. They say, oh, we're going to do, I don't know, XYZ, theme park.
Right.
Perhaps it wouldn't turn up.
Yeah.
Now we've got, is it Disney
Disney,
World?
yeah,
Disney
Disney.
World or
Yeah,
Disneyland, I
yeah,
think it's
Disneyland,
coming.
I think
Disney's
it's-
coming, yeah.
We know that will happen.
Yes.
Okay. We've got the World Islands.
casino.
Obviously, they exist. We've got the casino
Yes.
coming. What else have they done recently? The wheel. They've done a lot of stuff now, and they've actually followed through.
But we have 3 ecosystem at the moment. I believe there's 2 more coming up by the end of 2040.
Okay.
As per the plan, the population is estimated to increase to another 2.5 million by 2040.
Right.
So obviously, when they talk about these numbers coming from the government point of view, it means the infrastructure they're going to be providing in those specific area.
Right.
The airport is no-brainer. Why it's
airport,
moving to that side, it's
Exactly.
absolutely no-brainer. Why Dubai South is going to be another downtown of Dubai, as far as I know. That's exactly where you need to spend. I'll be spending my money because of how the government is, where the government is spending a lot of the money right now.
Right.
I think there's some great investment opportunities at the moment. Future 10, we're talking like 7 to 10 year plus, which is, if you're going to invest in the market, is what you should be doing anyway. You shouldn't be looking for short term. You shouldn't be looking for 2-3 year flips. But I think for me personally, Dubai South and Maritime City, which is now called, it's also Jumeirah Peninsula and then Maritime City. For me, those 2 areas, waterfront and then, central, where the new airport's going to be. Those 2, I believe, are very, very safe bets.
But they have to back it up. Like, the Expo, they spend a lot of money already.
Yes, exactly.
The airport, like I said, the ecosystem will be there. There will be more industrial area will be expanding, going further all the way towards the end of Dubai,
Well, it's like what they've done with Maritime as well. So they moved the commercial side of it, which is the cargo
port,
ships. So they moved that port to Jebel Ali.
Yes.
But then the largest port for ships that are coming in for tourists will be moved will be there at the peninsula at Maritime City. And they reckon 2.8 million, I say they reckon their goal is 2.8 million visitors per year through, tourists coming through in that area. So if you were to purchase, one of the properties down there now, hold on to it for the next 5 to 10 years.
So what will be your recommendation to first-time buyer if someone is buying for the first time in Dubai, say expat or overseas investor? So do you recommend them to look at Dubai South side or which side?
2 questions there. First-time buyers that are here right now, in my personal opinion, I would wait a little bit longer and let's just find out exactly what the requirements are for this scheme.
Right.
What we're going to get out of it. Is it slightly better mortgage rates? We've had some comments that 1.99 fixed for 7 years. We've had some comments that perhaps they're going to waive the DLD fee. We don't know exactly what it's going to be. I would register. I would speak to brokers and I would register on the DLD because you can do that now as a first-time buyer. And I would probably another few weeks before we get more information and then we understand where it's going to go. And then you can try and get on the ladder. I think getting on the ladder as soon as possible is still recommended, as always, especially if you're a first-time buyer, because you can offset what you're paying for a mortgage against what you would have paid in rent for the next 10 years.
Right.
For investors, overseas investors specifically, it depends on what they want as well. Are they looking for an income now? Are they if they got cash, or are they prepared to mortgage it? Because some people don't want to mortgage investments.
Right.
In which case, perhaps off-plan may be better for them, but there's no return. They're relying on the property value increasing, and then perhaps they rent it out or they flip it once it's handed over.
Right.
Or do they want to take a unit, let's say Dubai Marina, Blue Waters, something like that, or downtown perhaps even, have it rented out and be gaining anywhere between sort of 5 to 7% ROI on that particular unit. So it really depends on that investor's portfolio, existing portfolio, and what they want back from it. Do they want something right now, or are they prepared to, wait and get a return later down the line?
Definitely.
We're secondary, so for us, take a unit, stick a tenant in it. It's paying, take it on a mortgage purpose. It's paying, your mortgage is paid.
That's right.
Let the market continue to grow. Keep it for 10 years. It's costing you nothing. You're probably still going to be getting some money in, which you can also use to build up another deposit to purchase another unit. And you just continue to do that. Use the bank's money, because the rates are half decent at the moment. Use the bank's money. Take a unit, stick a tenant in it, get a decent rental return. Let that unit, let the interest on that unit grow, and then get rid of it.
Coming back to your point you mentioned, so the smart way to invest is holding the asset for long, at least for 5 or 10 years time frame? Or
From investor point of view, it's just obviously they prefer flipping as quickly as possible than
Yes.
tidying up their money in 4 or 5 years time. The average handover is about 2.5, 3 years, like Tom said. You're going with that, they want to do it as quickly as possible, as long as, depending on the developer, when you're allowed to resell your property.
Right.
So if you have paid 30%, 40%, depending on the developer, like I said, you are going to go ahead with it from the investor point of view. Keeping them longer, it's just obviously another ball game of an investor where they want to keep it
Right.
and then control the market in a way that,
Right.
buying, and then create that volume and bubble, and then sort of put it out there in 3-4 years time. So that's two different people
Yes.
we're talking about.
Some people don't want to, they don't want to manage 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rental units.
Right.
Even though, you put a tenant in there for a year, and that tenant might do 2, 3, 4 years in that unit, and you get in a decent return on it. Some of them, they don't want the hassle of that. So they would rather buy off plan,
Right.
follow through with the payment plan, and then flip the unit once the unit's either close to handover or handing over.
Right.
The reality of it is anyone who bought 2, 3 years ago
Right.
off plan has made money.
Yes.
Is that going to be the case in another 2 or 3 years' time? Well, that's the gamble, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the gamble. Are you prepared to take a risk that the market is going to continue 15 to 20% per year for the next 3 years until your unit is ready? Or do you want to put a tenant in there on a long-term, relatively low hassle basis at 6-7%?
Right.
Or do you want to short-term it? Do you want to Airbnb it? Do you want to short-term rent it? Because short-term rentals are still doing 16 to 20% ROI.
Right.
So you can make decent money out of them still, but obviously there's a lot more involved in, if you've got 2 or 3 units and you're short-term renting them all.
Yes.
You need somebody usually to manage them, unless you've got enough free time and you're in the country. If you're out of the country,
I agree.
Yeah, just on that, I was reading an article a couple of days ago where they mentioned 30% has been increased on a short-term rental.
Right.
And that is, these investors are also looking for certain opportunity like this.
Right.
So coming back to your question, how the investors is looking nowadays, it's so many aspects of it these days: short-term rentals, long-term rentals, what are flip purposes, how much I want to control the market, how much I want to gain, and then it
even buying. We've seen a lot of people recently buying villas, specifically
Right.
Jumeirah Islands, Palm, Meadows. So the older communities that are well established,
Right.
they're buying the original units,
Yes.
doing them up, upgrading them, massively upgrading them, and then
Right.
flipping them. And there's quite a lot of money in that as well.
Exactly.
But obviously it requires a much larger sum of investment upfront. But
Right.
your what you're flipping it for is decent money. You can be making 10, 15, 20 million on some of these garden homes that we've seen. They're buying them around the 27, 28 million mark,
Right.
and they're selling them for close to 60. We've seen a couple that have transferred recently. It's one transferred at 67 million. I think he paid 22 for it,
Yeah.
plus probably another 20 million in upgrades,
Yes.
or 15 million in upgrades. But decent money if you have the capital to put into it. Obviously,
Exactly.
9 months worth of work to be done to it,
Right.
and then you flip it in the market. So the thing with Dubai that I like is we've just talked about 5 or 6 different options there that you
Right.
could potentially go down the route of, depending on what your capital is and what you're prepared to put into it. And
Yes.
that's the great thing with Dubai, because we have all of these different options.
Right.
People can make money in multiple different ways, all in property, but multiple different ways of doing it.
Right. But have you come across clients who somehow manage 20% booking deposit amount or 15%, and then they struggle to arrange the remaining next
Are you
amount,
talking about off
due amount? So
So
do you think that that's the right way to go? Because they get carried away. Maybe someone told them that you put 20% and then you flip it at 20%.
Yeah.
Mainly we're talking about, it's a very small person. The end users basically is the right word for it. Like people who are in the middle category of where, they save up certain amount of money and they said, okay, we can afford it in probably 3 years time. And with these repayments and, the options like 1% these days, there's options like you only pay 1% every month.
Yes.
So at that time, it looks very attractive and you get yourself in that situation. But obviously, our financial situations varies, goes from one end to the other.
Yes.
So you don't know what in the scenarios. We have seen cases like this when there are end users have been selling the prime their units under the OP price, and that's still happening.
Right.
This is where they say, can we have a distressed deal? Well, this is the exact situation where you can have a distressed deal. But we are talking about a very small percentage.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, in answer to your question, we have one going on right now, specifically. The gentleman bought in Dubai Creek. I won't mention which building, but he bought in Dubai Creek. He's followed his payment plan, but he's now 30% behind, and he doesn't have the funds to pay the remaining 30%. 80% is due at this point.
Right.
We have a buyer for it. Call it a distressed deal. It's the gentleman's still making some money from it, but he doesn't have the money to put down. Now the buyer's happy to purchase the unit, but the buyer doesn't want to make the payment on behalf of the seller,
exactly,
because he's saying, "Hang on a minute, I don't want to pay his 30%, and then I don't get the unit."
Right.
And there's a difficulty with the developer sometimes where they don't want to issue the NOC.
Yes.
So you have to find, there are strict channels of what should be done.
Right.
But some people don't feel comfortable doing that as well.
Yes.
And it can make it difficult to sell these units because the gentleman, it's not a case of, okay, well, I'll just run out and grab the other 30%. We could be talking millions depending on what that unit's worth. Exactly. That particular individual doesn't have the funds in order to pay for it. Right. And Ali here doesn't want to make the payment on his behalf. So what do you do?
Yes, exactly.
And you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. Now, like I said, there are ways around it. Obviously, you can. There are ways of doing it with the trustee office and with the developer and stuff, but it does make it more difficult to sell these units because there's a lot more complication.
Exactly.
And people are wary of, hang on a minute.
Right.
I don't want to pay this guy's unit, and then I'm left with nothing.
Right.
And then I have to go to court to try and get the money back, which is very, very rare. It's very rare, but it does happen.
Depending on the developer too. I had someone, the developer is paying, you pay us right now the whole amount. From the buyer's point of view, I'll give you 4% discount on it.
The other thing as well is what a lot of people don't realize is once BCC is issued, which is Building Completion Certificate, the SPAs have stringencies in them.
Yes.
And those payment terms change. So, for example, if I'm selling to you prior to BCC and I can give you my post-handover payment plan, but then once BCC is issued, we're still in the midst of doing our transfer. BCC has been issued. You can no longer take my payment plan.
Yes.
Hang on a minute, I don't want to buy the unit then.
Exactly.
And then it causes problems as well. So there are all of the, this is why I believe that it's important for the investors to work with brokers that understand some of the complications that we've just talked about in the market, because they are reality, and you need to be aware of these potential situations.
Right.
Well, NOC is one of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
NOC is big.
So that was my next question. That for clients entering the market and then struggling to arrange funds, what will be your advice to them?
Don't purchase in the first place.
But do you think they get carried away by misleading?
It's so attractive, isn't it? Like, rental prices obviously increasing year by year.
Right.
Look, it depends on the developer and the particular building, because there are some where there's, should we say, a couple of hundred units available, but there's thousands of EOIs that go forward. If you're one of the lucky ones that gets the unit, you could flip it pretty quickly, and you could maybe make 10, 15, 20% on it.
Right.
But you don't know.
Right.
And you're relying on the information from your broker, whether it's worth putting that 24% that you're paying.
Right.
Also, depending on the developer, they all have different stages. Generally speaking, it's 40% at which point they can.
Yes.
But that means you need to make 40%. If you want to flip it, buy it today and flip it tomorrow, if it's a building that you can do that on, you're going to have to make a 44% payment up front.
Right.
Perhaps other people in the market are not going to be prepared to put that money down as well in order to, because it'll be 44% back to you plus, 44% to the developer plus whatever your premium is that you want, whether it's 15, 20%.
Right.
I think personally, the market is 2 years ago, 3 years ago, yes. Now, I'm not so sure.
Yes. And when you say, when is the right time to buy? I'm sure you must have
There's always
this question so many times.
Well, the old saying is the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So I think that, for me, answers the question.
For me, I always personally, myself, like, buying something for myself, I always look for good opportunities.
Right.
And when we talk about good opportunity, I'm not specifically looking for distressed deal. If the amount has to be paid for the kind of vision I have when I'm purchasing the property, I have to pay for that. Everything has a premium on it.
Right.
So if I want particular view, particular series because of certain reasons, could be a vastu issue, could be I want a beach view, I want my kitchen to be facing on the other side because that's why I want to be cooking my meals. Could be any particular reason. There's a premium for it.
Right.
So if you're looking from an end user point of view, a distressed deal, and then you're picking and choosing your units, it's going to be really difficult.
Right.
So from first home buyer to second home buyer, third home buyer, there's always a gap of how individually you want to take it.
Yes.
It's all my choices, right? It's just
Yes.
how it reflects my choices all the time.
There's no doubt in my mind that we're still in a seller's market. I think despite this news article that came out around 4 weeks ago or so that stated that there was going to be a 15% reduction
Right.
in the market prices this year, which is not going to happen at all. Now we've released, we're talking about this first-time buyers scheme, this new
Right.
home buyers scheme.
Right.
I think if you're considering getting on the market and you're currently renting in Dubai,
Right.
you do it as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Because the market is going to continue to go. The rental market is continuing to increase. So
Right.
perhaps you get a vacated notice because
Exactly.
your landlord is selling. You may have been paying 50% less than what the current to date market value is.
Right.
You have to then go and rent somewhere next year.
Yes.
And you were paying 100, now you're going to have to pay 150, 170 for
I
the
agree.
equivalent unit. Ideally, if you have the money for the
Right.
deposit, put it into a property, purchase it, and you can, like I said earlier, you can offset what you
Right.
would have paid in rent towards a mortgage.
I completely agree.
I think this first home buyer scheme was it's about to change a few things, and I'm actually excited for those people.
I had a friend who was renting. He'll know who he is if he hears this. He was renting in Jumeirah Golf Estates. He was renting in Sundials, I think it was, and he was paying quite a lot of money every year to rent. And I said to him, "You've got the money for a deposit.
Yes.
Why don't you buy something?" So I didn't push him, but I just kind of educated on the market. He was kind of there himself already, so we talked about it. We found a unit in Wildflower, which is in Jumeirah Golf Estates as well, and he purchased that unit. And he was literally the last mortgage that went across the line with HSBC before they closed them for COVID.
Okay.
Okay, so he was literally like they were refusing. We were backwards and forwards arguing with them for about 3 or 4 days. We finally managed to get it signed from FOL, purchased the unit, and he paid just over 5 million for it. He later sold that unit in 2023 for over 15 million.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and
Interesting.
that was his entry into the market. Now, yes, he bought at a fantastic time. Yes, the market has increased, but tell me, where's the market going to be in 2028, 2029? Because
Exactly.
I have no idea. And
Right.
anybody that tells, oh, it will be here, well, it's all stipulation.
Right. So this was a great success story you highlighted about your friend.
Mm.
Do you have any success story with your client, like, where your client bought at XYZ price and sold it at 5x, 10x?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's my journey.
I've got a couple.
Starting from a couple of investors, just selling them offline units and being educated, just to have to go through with the fact that this is what the requirements were and finding the right units for them,
Right.
going with the developer offline. And 10-20% in Palm was very easily successful stories for them.
Right.
That's not even one case, even resale.
Right.
2022, they bought properties and now they're going almost not double, but decent. They made good 50-60% appreciation on it.
I mean, I've got 4 friends that are all brothers, and they all bought in a unit in Talal Al Ghaf, all of them.
Okay.
And they paid OP prices, which, if you know what they were practically nothing.
Right.
Market price today is 3 to 3.5 times what they paid for it.
Right.
So they've 3 to 4x their money
Right.
just by buying it. They weren't even the first. They didn't buy it directly from the developer. They bought it as a secondary off plan.
Okay.
Still got a very good deal on it. They paid very close to OP for it.
Really good.
Obviously, they've now moved into these units, and like I said, there's 4 of them that have all
I
purchased.
think the
And
people
involved
had taken risk after the pandemic or during the
Right.
pandemic
Yeah,
Right.
it's
are the
paid
most
off-
successful
paid off
stories
massively.
of them than anyone else, even last couple of years.
Right.
COVID time's probably the best time. If anyone, as an investor point of view, you understand how the world and evolves and operates. But obviously, it was a different scenario. The whole world was actually in pandemic.
Right.
But those risk takers, that's what you call the risk takers, right? They make the most value out of it. So those people who purchase at that time, in fact, an end user point of view,
I don't believe that a lot of people think that when they were purchasing property in Dubai that they were taking a risk. I think genuinely the ones that made good money were buying it because they wanted to stay in Dubai.
Right.
They weren't particularly worried regarding the pandemic at that particular time.
Yes.
Because Dubai was still relatively normal. For example, Australia, where you're from, was a year and a half's lockdown or something, was it?
500
Whereas
plus
I
days
think we had, did we have like 3 months or something like that?
Exactly.
So people were out purchasing properties again. They bought that unit now 4 years, 5 years ago, and the unit's worth 3, 4, 5, 6 times what they paid for it because the market's increased. Okay, if you put your money in crypto or an altcoin or something like that, or a meme coin, then it was a gamble because you had no idea. But if you were buying a property because you were like, oh, I'm not going to pay rent anymore,
Right.
well, you've saved money on rent
Exactly.
and you've made money because your property's gone 3, 4 times what it's worth.
I completely agree. It's better than investing in. I mean, real estate is always a safe asset to invest.
Always.
And any complicated deals you have done in the secondary market which you would like to share?
I think I always say any deal without a complication is too good to be true, especially in resale. I mean, offline is probably the process is a lot quicker and faster and very smooth.
Right.
I mean, resale can be quicker if the two people are in line with each other.
Yes.
And everyone is. We don't live in happy and amazing dream world that we like to imagine.
Yes.
So deals can go south, can go left, right, and center. I think, from my understanding, that has been from day one. If you are transparent to all parties and do your job with basic ethics, just be as true as possible in dealing with two parties separately.
Right.
Because in secondary, there's a lot of paperwork that can be involved in it. You're starting from a seller's point of view, you need certain Form A. Okay, from buyer's point of view, Form B. This is after you actually agreed on the price.
Yes.
Agreed on a price, depending, negotiation can last up to 24 hours, up to literally a month.
Exactly.
Depending how deep you want to go in it. Then you obviously mortgage buyer, pre-approvals.
Right.
After the pre-approval, if it's a cash buyer, cash, cash seller, cash buyer, easy transaction, right? Do it on the day.
Right.
So I don't know any country where you can transfer the property in 24 hours. Because if certain property does not need an NOC anymore,
Right.
ready to sell, ready to buy,
Right.
let's go to trustee office right now.
Yeah,
I'll create A,
manager's
B, and F at the same time, and it's done. You don't need anything, basically. So that is one of the aspects of it. Can be done within 24 hours, and the finance can take up to 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
If obviously the final offer letter is not issued by the bank, then it's the deal is basically dead. So we always say to the agents, being myself and one of the agents, till the transfer is done, it's actually not done. So
Yes.
don't celebrate or be, go and start like, oh, that's my first deal, I've done it, and it can happen. It actually happened to me personally, so I know. And not on my first deal, but down the line, because of the FOL wasn't issued, you just cannot do anything about it.
Right.
I think I'm going to be careful what I say because I'm not going to name particular developers, but some of the smaller developers,
Right.
when you're reselling secondary off-plan, their SPAs can be very, very difficult to deal with.
Right.
And if you don't read the SPA as an agent, which some of them will say, oh, the seller didn't send it to me. Well, technically, it's your obligation to get it because it's ethically, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do your due diligence.
Right.
If you don't, then you're being naive. But the reality of it is some of these SPAs, some of the statements that are in there about how much needs to be prepaid,
Yes.
what happens if the unit is sold, some of the payment plans are not transferable,
Right.
some of these issues, and then you get two parties that have not read SPAs.
Right.
They sign to purchase a property.
Right.
You go right up to everyone's made their checks and they're ready to go, and you go to do the NOC.
Yes.
No, you need to make a payment of A, B, C, D, and you can't have this,
Right.
and this. And it's like, hang on a minute, I wasn't aware of that. And then immediately 2 parties start fighting.
Right.
You've got a Form F and you're in the middle of it, and it can be very, very difficult.
Right.
And this is one of the reasons why I prefer secondary, because you don't have these issues.
So my question is, when you mentioned about the sale purchase agreement, that you should read the sale purchase agreement. Do we have really choice to say that I don't agree with the sale purchase agreement? You amend this clause. Can we go to the developer?
As a first time buyer or off-plan
Primary
resale?
sale, like if I go to the developer, can I say I don't want this?
Yes, to a degree with certain developers. If you're purchasing a property from X developer, then they're not EMAR, should we say, not Nikhil, not Damac. Sometimes some of these clauses, they will edit them depending on stipulations and if you can provide evidence that it's unrealistic and so on and so forth. But it genuinely does depend what it is, and it depends on who the developer is. Sometimes it's either sign it or don't purchase it. It's as simple as that.
Right.
So I have seen it done.
Yes.
I worked at Denmark previously, and I've seen us change certain elements of SPAs for individuals, especially if they've bought a full floor or a number of units. Then yes, they can potentially make some small changes, but not some of the core elements. They absolutely no.
Right.
If you go to the likes of Imar or Nikhil, no. Either sign it or don't.
So when it comes to bulk, yes, they may consider your request for amendment. But if you look at overseas countries where the lawyer is there and lawyer will guide you whether the SPA is safe to sign or not.
I had one recently, and it was a British gentleman, banked with Coots, was purchasing an off-plan, just a 2-bedroom off-plan unit. He got a lawyer involved in the UK. Lawyer went through the SPA, made a laundry list of things that were not acceptable to this individual. They still adhered to DLD law, but not acceptable to this individual. And I think there was around 15 or 16 points that he wanted changing. No, absolutely no chance. He bought it. He went through it. He didn't, he basically said to the lawyer, look, I'm going to go ahead with it anyway. But
different country, different laws.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think a lot of these, I've seen SPAs that don't adhere to DLD rules as well. That there are SPAs out there that, hang on a minute, you can't actually do that as per Dubai law, but they do it anyway. There are developers out there still actively selling without escrow accounts. And they're trying to get buyers to put money into the corporate account, and then they will shift it to the escrow account, which is illegal. You're not allowed to sell a project without an escrow account, but there are still developers out there that are doing it.
Right.
And we're not experts.
The whole land has to be paid too.
Yeah, we're not experts in the off-plan. We are primarily secondary, but I do know enough about it to understand when I can say to a client that particular development or developer does not have an escrow account.
Right.
Do not even look at it.
Right.
Because you're just going to open up a world of problems.
So let's discuss about the client's misconceptions. So coming back to secondary market, what are misconceptions clients have and how you handle those misconceptions?
As an agent?
I think one thing that I can point out straight away is, for some reason, I think buyers believe, the portals have got a lot better than what they used to be. And I'm talking from 10 years, 11 years now. But I think that they think that all of the units that they see, until they start ringing through them, are different units. So, for example, they'll ring you and they'll ask, is this unit available? And you'll say yes. Now, perhaps you didn't do your job particularly well, and then they'll ring Ali, he's a different company. What they don't realize is we've all got the same unit.
Right.
So they're ringing through. Now, maybe perhaps they are interested in it. So they'll come and view with you, and then they'll go and view with Ali, and then they get to the unit and realize, oh, I've already seen this unit. And then they'll come to me and the same thing again happens. Right. Now, the problem is if and when they do go to actually purchase and make an offer on these units, for some reason, they seem to keep the other agents informed about what they're doing. Now, those agents inform their seller, oh, I've got an interested party.
Right.
So now Mr. Seller believes that he's got 3 purchasers for his property.
Right.
He hasn't. He's got one guy who's made an offer with you, and me and Ali, because we've done our job, we've updated him and we've given him feedback.
Right.
Now he believes, hang on a minute, I've got 3 buyers. I've got 1 offer. I'm going to wait for the other 2 offers to see what comes through. It doesn't work like that. And I think buyers need to start realizing when they're dealing with a good agent,
Yeah.
someone that's qualified them well, someone that's prepared to work with them and they can build an element of trust with, they
Right.
need to give back to that agent because
Right.
they need to understand, firstly, the agent should educate them properly.
Right.
Secondly, they should then give an element of trust to that agent and let that agent do their job to find them the correct unit.
Yes.
Saves them going round to other agents, saves the sellers believing that there's more than one buyer in the market for that particular unit, which at that particular time there may not be.
Right.
In which case, it's going to make their lives more difficult when they come to negotiate. It's going to
Right.
obviously try and keep the price high. And yeah, I think they need to. There needs to be a bit more of trust element that goes both ways. In the UK, there'll be one agency that lists one property,
Yes.
and you'll deal with that buyer.
Right.
You'll build a relationship with that buyer. You'll show them a couple of different units.
Yes.
If they do go and go with another agency with Jordan Fishwick's next door, for example,
Right.
they're not going to be looking at the same properties because we do not clash. We don't have the same properties. Whereas in Dubai, multiple agencies have multiple properties,
Yes.
and they can view the same property multiple times with different agents.
Right.
And it just, it's frustrating for them, I understand, but it also makes their job, they're potentially pushing their own price
Right.
higher because
Right.
of the seller.
For me, it's always been very, very simple. I believe half of the population, actually, anyone who lives in Dubai is as good as any other agents are out there. Even the end users, like they come across like, I know every transactions, I know what I'm buying. I've seen this already. I've done that. So with obviously REST app coming in, it's probably the best thing from the end user point of view. So
Right.
they can go and check any transaction that's happening, or in fact the off plan when it's going to
Right.
be ready, how much it's completed or not. And more misconceptions are mainly the first one I ever had when I came in, started my journey as an agent.
Right.
It's like, buyer's point of view, let's wait till the summer because the prices will come down.
Right.
And that's always like, it was always blown my mind because it just didn't make sense for me because coming from an outside point of view,
Right.
Melbourne, you wouldn't have these issues. Like, the summer will not, or the winter should not affect the property prices. But over here, there was always been the case.
Right.
So I understand from the economical side of it, I'm the student of it, economics, and from seeing the GDP, the interest rates, if these two things in line with the population is stable and the population is increasing, why would the summer should be in effect in this? But I mean, people said, oh, you don't know the market has dropped, or there was a bubble there and that happened. So, and they're actually the one who has suffered the most because they waited, and then these 3-4 years are gone.
Right.
In this process, or
Exactly.
year and after that, you're looking around. There were times, and I'm going with the numbers in certain location. Let's say Palm, they were per week you're losing about 25,000 dirhams. The more you wait, the more you're gonna suffer.
Right.
So if you wanna wait till summer, no worries, but the prices are not coming down.
Right.
And that for me, it's always been like, now I think it has sort of coming down a little bit. And because the transactions are there, everyone can go.
The volume is higher. The volume is higher.
You can go and have a look yourself. So there's no brainer there that the stats does not go with this myth at all.
I think there was 15,000 units or so sold last month.
Right.
For June.
Right.
For 2024,
Yes.
it was around the same. It was around 14,000 for the summertime.
Right.
The height was 20,000 units in a month. It was 19,000 something.
Exactly.
And the low was January,
Right.
which was around 11,500, 12,000, something like that. Well, the peak of 2023 was 11,500 peak. That's the most.
Right.
So every year we sell more units.
Yes.
And every year the summer gets a little bit busier and a little bit busier. And everyone keeps thinking, oh, the summer's really quiet. No, maybe 10 years ago, not anymore.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Coming back to your misconceptions or with clients, do you feel somewhere even real estate professionals are also responsible for not communicating correctly
100%.
within the client?
I
behave in
genuinely
a certain
believe.
way because maybe we are not educating them correctly.
Correct.
Or maybe we are not asking the right questions.
I think the qualification
Yes.
that's done over the phone initially is
Yes.
poor. I think there's very, very few agents that do that job effectively.
Yes.
And then the second best time that you get to do it, or in my opinion, the best time which is when you actually go and meet them on a viewing.
Right.
That's the time when you really get to dig in and you know
Yes.
build a relationship with them.
Yes.
I don't think a lot of agents do it in Dubai.
Exactly.
I
So
really
somewhere I
don't.
feel like, we say clients really create this kind of hype in the market, but even realtors also should be really
100%.
careful about how to qualify and
100%.
That's
ask
what
the
they
right
say.
questions.
Only 10% of the realtors will sort of surviving in this amazing Dubai real estate market, actually doing extraordinarily well.
Right.
You say there's 20,000, 28, 30,000 brokers who are registered brokers, and
Right.
there's about 57, 60,000 from what we know. In our understanding is about the brokers out
Probably
there.
around 50,000. Yeah.
And the amount of brokers I personally dealt with it, mostly depending on where the nationality and things like that does make into a consideration. Definitely, there always has been for me, and that has created these agents, including us, has actually controlled the market
Right.
and acted in either rightly so or the other way around as well.
Right.
This we have affected, and there's a big responsibility as a broker.
Right.
As a company point of view, as a broker point of view, it's a massive responsibility because
agree.
towards how you want to take this industry, and how I want people to see it
Right.
in 10, 20 years' time.
I think the quality is getting better,
Yes.
the quality of brokers, but because the number of brokers has increased so much, I think the percentage is not changed at all.
Right.
And I think there is a lot of work to do from brokers to be more effective at doing their job. If you send some of these brokers back to the UK
Right.
to do estate agency, they would get laughed out. They would literally get laughed out of the shop because they just do not know how to do the basics. And part of that is what you said before. They don't educate the client. They don't
Exactly.
qualify the client. And they're just running around chasing buyers and sellers all over the place. They're not actually doing their job effectively.
I think it's the entire ecosystem. Even organizations are equally responsible if they are not getting the right education. So even they are responsible. So it's the entire ecosystem. It's not just client. It's not just realtor.
Absolutely,
So it's a mix. For sure.
absolutely. It's a collective
Yes.
work that needs to be done.
So let's have a quick fire round. So my first question to both of you is: which is the best community?
Dubai South at the moment, hottest.
Future, Maritime City.
Interesting. Which is underrated community?
Jadaf,
Dubai South.
Which is overrated community?
Palm Jabal Ali.
Palm Jumeirah.
Oh,
Which is the best waterfront community?
Palm Jumeirah for sure.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, can't
I
argue with
like Blue Waters though as well.
Yeah.
Blue Waters and beachfront as well. I mean, it depends. They don't have any villas there, so
Which is the best golf community?
Jumeirah Golf.
yeah, it's got to be JG. Has to be.
Has to be, yeah.
One thing you wish your client should know.
Transparency. Yeah, just as clear as possible you can be with your client. I want the clients to be
You want transparency from your client.
Yeah.
The client should be more transparent.
absolutely,
What exactly they are looking
absolutely, absolutely.
at. Makes sense, yeah. What about you?
I wish they could see from the broker's eyes what it's like to be a broker.
Yes, I completely
It's
agree on that.
impossible, but you asked me what I would like. I wish they could see that.
Thank you. It was really interesting and engaging discussions. Thank you, Tom, for coming, and thank you, Ali. Had really good discussions on different
Pleasure,
topics, and we also had good discussion on the quick fire round.